Oh, it's a beautiful day in Africa. Um, that over there in the distance is Steyn City. That's where they're playing the Live Golf uh, Africa tournament at the moment. I was there yesterday, saw Bryson and all the guys playing. It was really, really excellent. And I thought, I was thinking about reminiscing about some of the past things that I've done. And I thought maybe I would show you one of my adventures in Africa, which was the establishment of a gold mine. I'm seeing a lot of videos on YouTube where people like search the planet for various interesting locations, and then try and identify what is at those locations. So I'm going to show you my interesting location of my gold mine that I created from scratch in deepest, darkest Africa. So let me give you a little tour of it. Anyone who's watched Discovery Channel has most probably seen the mining programs that have been shown for many years, where they go into remote areas and they establish little gold mines. Well, my experience was exactly like one of those guys, except this is now in Africa. And this is hard rock mining, which means you have to drill and blast shafts into the ground, and then crush the ore that you bring out, and then process that ore using cyanide, which sounds quite hectic, but not really. So this, if you are interested after watching this tour of my mine, let me know in comments, and I will make a few other videos showing you the history of how I did this. It's quite an interesting story with many adventures. So let me know, please, and please subscribe, because it gives me enthusiasm to create these videos for your enjoyment. Let's start the tour as Thank you very much. Let's get New York. The tour started. If you go to Google Earth and you find New York, and then you zoom out, and then you rotate the Earth until you get to Africa. Go down a little bit, until you get to see Zimbabwe. There's Zimbabwe. If you zoom in on Zimbabwe, we're looking for Bulawayo. And if you zoom in more on Bulawayo, we're looking for a place called Philabusi. And if you find Philabusi, then just look a bit to your right, and you're looking for a kink in a river. And if you zoom in on that kink in the river, you will find a gold mine. That's the gold mine that I created from scratch with a fellow partner in Zimbabwe. Up there, those are the mine shafts. This is artisanal mining, so it's very rudimentary. That's our mill. That's the tailings and cyanide processing area, and that's the office. Let me take you through a tour of the mine. Right, I'm going to give you a tour of the entire mine. So let me start here. I'm looking out the front gate of the operational part of the mine, looking down the road that leads to the mine. So you drive up that road towards me to enter this mine area. Now on the left hand side, going like this, we have basically two claims that stretch for, each claim is about 10,000 hectares in extent. And then on the right, sort of in that direction, there is another claim which we haven't even looked at, which we own. So we own 4 claims, 4 times 10,000 hectares. Apparently somewhere in the bush there is a rocky outcropping that one of these guys that divines for gold has identified as a really hot spot. So in the future we will have a look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn around. So this is our like entrance area. This is the entrance to the thing, and we will have in this little area here, we will build a security guardhouse one day. Okay, so if I'm standing here, there's the mountains in the background there, you can see, and there's a river that flows over there in the distance, and our mine is essentially between the river, in a bend that the river makes. Here's Ndele, he's Nelson's 2IC. Okay, so let's go for a tour. So as we walk down this road, on the left hand side are where the shafts are, and on the right hand side is where our milling area is. So I think I'll take you first to the mine shafts. There in the foreground is our toilets, and Nelson and I use the ladies' toilet, which is a long drop, and the other guys use the men's toilet. Okay, so let's go left first. So if I look down quickly down here, we've got a little road, and right at the bottom there you can see where we've got some bricks there. Nelson has been making bricks to build new structures. And if you continue down that road, to the right hand side are where the buildings for our worker quarters are. Okay, so now this area here that I'm looking at is where all the shafts are, and this area is basically, a river is flowing direct at us right now, and then it turns a corner and it starts flowing that way, and then it does a bend and it goes right around, and about there it starts going straight again. So our mine is in this like U-bend of this of the river, and the ground is quite raised. It's about, I would say, about 10 meters higher than the river bed. Okay, so this whole area stretching from sort of way in the distance on the left hand side to all around here is full of shafts, People, Nelson has been looking at every single little piece of rock that sticks out of the ground, and he has been digging holes to see whether he can get anything. And he's been getting, but it's been like 2 grams a ton, not very good. But it makes one think that this whole area could be mined as an open cast mine one day. So I'm walking now on the trail
that's going to our main shaft. And as we walk along this trail, you will see all these other workings, old workings. This is all rock that was taken out in developing mine shafts. Here, like here, you can see here is a mine shaft that, or a little piece of reef that they found sticking out, and now they're digging down into it. But this is all really just messing around, in my opinion. So like here is another shaft that they were developing, and all of this, all this ground we're looking at here is just a whole bunch of old shafts that they've been working. A whole bunch of old shafts, and on that side also. Okay, so here is the main shaft. All of this stuff you see here is the mud that we've been bringing out of the main shaft. And this is the main shaft. So now this, when I first originally came here, this main shaft was a hole in the ground that had a big bunch of earth around it, big banks, sort of like those banks surrounding it. And it was very difficult to get into. And then when there were those torrential rains about a year and a half ago, it basically collapsed the main shaft, and then we had to recollar the entire shaft. So if we look here, it's actually surrounded by a concrete collar. And if I can show you inside here, you can actually see the concrete collar going down, and then starting to go with poles. All of that is stuff that we've had to pay for to develop the shaft so it could be reopened. And this shaft was reopened in June of 2015. But what really happened there is we had the situation where there was no drinking water, and Nelson had to make a call whether he used the main shaft to develop it or to use it for drinking water, and the drinking water won the day. So it's only now, after eventually he has come to his senses and agreed with me to focus on our property, that we've now started developing the main shaft. And of course yesterday we had fantastic discovery, where we discovered some of the original reef, and it looks extremely positive. So everybody is extremely enthusiastic now. But just some words about this main shaft. Over here you'll see this is a foundation. This foundation is what made us believe that there was a real proper working mine operating out of this shaft. This is the foundation we discovered when there was just bush around here. I mean, when I first came here, this whole area was just enclosed completely with bushes, and there was and trees, and there was this big hole in the ground, and then this foundation next to it. So it's obviously what they were doing is they had like a type of a crane here, and they would use the crane to go down the hole, and then bring out the crane, swing it around, which was a very effective way of actually doing things. In fact, much better, I think, than what we're doing, because it's very difficult to take out these containers. These are the containers that you see over there. Each one is 57 centimeters in diameter and 33 centimeters deep in terms of the load it can take, and that equates to 0.08 cubic meters. So if they can basically take about 42 of these things out a day, which amounts to about 3.4 cubic meters, which if they take in all out means about 3.5 tons a day. Okay, so that's the main shaft, and we've struck the reef, and the decision right now is to go down another 2 meters and then decide, Nelson will decide whether he's going to take any ore out. So if I walk, so let me just explain to you let me go back to where I was standing previously. Okay, so I've just walked basically straight from the offices, from the entrance gate to here. If I pan around in that direction there, that is north, and the river runs parallel to this direction. So the river is running just over there, just around there, and goes around like that. Okay. Right. So the one tunnel the largest tunnel that we've found, which was those small little tunnels, kind of goes along that way, and then there's another tunnel that goes towards the river that way, and there's another tunnel, the tunnel that we thought was a tunnel, which is not a tunnel, which was just an alcove that they took out some reef, came this way, that way. Okay. So this here is the new tunnel you've discovered. So, and over here,
And the old one was
it's
down that way.
the old tunnels,
There's the other old little tunnel as well.
and over here there's another old tunnel.
That's where the water is coming from.
You can see the sandbags that have been used to hold the water back. And then here is the reef.
And the bark of it is all the way here. It's I don't know, is it 45? I don't know how many degrees this is. How many degrees in here?
Yeah, looks like 45. It comes down like this.
Yeah, it gets down to it's about 45 degrees.
Comes down like this.
So basically this
There's the tunnel that goes 50 degrees. There's sandbags that hold back mud and water. That doesn't go very far at all. Then here is a tunnel that goes quite far, and it goes, there's quite a few chutes, about 20 meters in. And this is what Nelson says is the big quartz reef. Question is, why hasn't it been taken out? And then here
Like 285 looks like a brand new tunnel with just lots and lots of mud in it that they just uncovered. So there we have it, that's what it is. The reef comes up top there, straight down. This is the north face, and this is where they've taken out that tunnel because that's where they followed the reef in. So that's how it comes down, and then it comes to this quartz here, and whether there's gold in this quartz, I have no idea. The question I have in my mind is, why is this quartz exposed and no one's taken it out if it's got gold in it? So it's a big question I have in my mind. But having said that, the thing that you cannot look past is this massive timbering that they put in place here. I mean, this is serious stuff that only real miners could have put in. So it's very interesting.
Yena kuphela ngafuni silungu igama lesizulu uma ukhuluma uyasha abe kwazi ukuthi manje ngizongani kuye sizulu ubona njengami ubona njengami awunganga ukuthi helmet yakho leyo yafika ikhiphe emnyama ukuthi ngayo stop isizulu no sama makandiyo ndephi sama pasi buya makandiyo
Gente abasala kama njani na ibaba. Ana ndiri kutembiswa pana pa kuti. Careful. Ndio ya zveko. Azvenyi. Izvi.
ndofuna makandiyo Sambai. Tot. Kena picha. Tangu ya ha.
Sasa fiete ni ngayo sisi vamba nawe. Tatanyati. Uniba mingi sana. Sasa ndio nyati.
So if I go back here now and I walk past the main shaft, we go down this little pathway here. And this is our boundary fence. So this is the boundary of one of our no, this in fact is not the boundary fence. Our claim, actually our topmost claim, actually goes across the river. Now I don't know if you can notice, there's the river down there. It flows around corner, comes around, and so it goes. Very slow moving river. You see the bank on the other side of the river there, that's where the farmer, next door farmer's cattle comes in. But our claim actually extends over the river for, I would estimate, about 100 meters. Whether we'll ever use that, I doubt. Okay, so let's go back up here. So as I said, on my left hand side and my right hand side are just a whole bunch of massive big holes where they've explored before. But this is our main shaft. Okay. So let's go away from the main shaft. Bye bye. And you can see the main shaft. There's that. It's very dark, but there's this flipping rope ladder that goes down into the depths, which I had to climb down. Yuck, what a harrowing experience that was, my god. Anyway, okay, so let's go. I'm just basically retracing my steps here along the path. So apparently we were just talking about the main shaft and why there's a shaft there, and now that we've actually hit the reef, which I can see is a proper reef, and the samples we've taken out have had gold specks in them, and the reef looks like a mixture of quartz and greenstone, which is kind of exactly what we want from a reef that is sustainable. So it's all very, very promising. But apparently the way they used to discover gold back in the days when the Germans were around is using gold diviners. So you know, you get a water diviner, he walks around with sticks, so they have gold diviners, and that's how they actually identified that particular piece of ore. Okay, so I've walked back. Over there is the main road leading in. We went down there towards the main shaft. Now there's the toilets again, so now I'm going to go right, and going right it takes us to the actual operational side of things. And the first thing you can see is the water towers that feed the mill, and the mill is directly in front of me behind those trees. There's Nelson and Ndele, and there's our offices in the front here. So Nelson's room is the one in the middle of the white door, mine is the one on the left hand side, and then the storeroom is on the right hand side. That's my shower over there, getting warm in the sun. So this is my my room. So you can see I've been pestered with flies, so I'm actually sitting under a mosquito net working. So this is it. There's my bed over there on that side there. This is all my stuff. I've got, at the moment, I've got 4 cans of food left and 2 bottles of water. But look, Nelson came back from Philibusi, bought me some fruit juice and some packets of chips. How lucky am I? It's like a Christmas. There's my kettle, mosquito coils. Those 2 cups over there are used to calibrate my pH meter to make sure that the pH for the cyanide was correct. About 10 before I started working with cyanide. Okay, so this is walking out again. Okay, so then this looks out onto the mill, and you can see the mill over there, and then all the tailings dumps. So let's go for a walk along the tailings. So you can see it most probably is about, I would say about 50 meters wide by about I would say about 150 meters long in terms of the tailings dump, and on average height I would say is about 2.5 meters. So you can work out what the volume of the tailings are. So let's just go over here. So this is the stamp mill. You can see it's operated by a motor which works this massive big pulley, which then moves up and down hammers. And get into the shade here so you can see. So these are the 3 hammers. So this is called a three hammer stamp mill. And those hammers, you feed in ore from the other side. They hammer down, crush in the ore. It flows out through a wire sieve which is not in place onto this table, which will have a whole lot of blankets on it, and then would have gone through our concentrator, which would have been over here, but now it goes straight into this tank, and from this tank then the slimes they float. You get 2 types of output here. You get the sand, which is like very fine sand, and then you get slime, which is it's a very sticky mud, and it actually floats when it comes out of the mill. And there's a little rivet there at the end of the tank which the slimes flow down to get the slimes away from the sands. Okay, so let's climb up so all of this is tailing sand. You can see here there's a big hole. This is the first 5 tons of tailings that we put into the cyanide plant, and in the background there you can see there's a green tank. That is the cyanide tank. Okay, so let's pan over here again. There's the tailings tank, there's the one. Okay, so let's walk around now. So hopefully I'm actually walking on money. All of this that I'm walking on is tailings that we have to process now with cyanide to recover the gold that's in it. There's the tank. There's the mill. This is I'm staying now in the river where all the slimes run through. It'll come running through here and then into little slimes dams that we create. So this is what the slime looks like. It's just dried mud now, but as soon as it gets wet, it becomes so difficult to work with. It's just a nightmare. Okay, so now we enter the area where the cyanide operation is. So the cyanide operation consists of, first thing over here is in this tank. There's a tank within a tank as an extra precaution against cyanide solution going into the environment. So this tank is what we call the mixing tank. It's a 2,000 litre tank. In there we will mix the cyanide with water that's got a pH of above 10. if cyanide is added to water that's got a pH below 10, then cyanide gas is given off and we die. Basically, simple as that. If it's above 10, then cyanide remains in solution and we live. That's yeah. So pH management is extremely important. Okay, so here's the mixing tank, and here's a pump that will then pump the solution to that tank there. Now that tank is our first cyanide tank. It's 5,000 liters, so it can take 5 tons of sand. So and then there's this gully here that you see, and in that gully I had all the filters. I've subsequently taken those filters out now. They are here because I've taken the carbon out of them, and we will be burning the carbon in about half an hour's time. To see whether we can recover any gold. So in that cyanide tank at the bottom is a pipe that's perforated and that has got stones around it, and on top of that we put in the sands, and there's a structure around it to make sure that the tank doesn't collapse when you put the sand and the water in. I must say that was my biggest concern in setting this thing up, whether a plastic tank could handle 5 tons of sand plus another 2 tons of water, because that's effectively what goes into that 5,000 litre tank there. It fits in 5 tons of sand and plus 2 tons of water. The 2 tons of water basically saturates the sand right until the top level. Okay, so what happens is it seeps out of that tank through, there would have been 2 pipes there with carbon in them, and it goes back into the settling tank. So it's basically a closed circuit. Then from that settling tank we would then pump it into a second cyanide tank. So effectively we should not actually be putting any solution that's got any cyanide into the environment in this situation. It's a complete closed loop. Yay for me. Okay, so that's basically the cyanide operation. I'll be taking some samples with me to the lab on Wednesday when I leave, and I'm testing the solution that comes out of the cyanide tank to see what amount of gold there is and what cyanide is left. Then we'll take, I've taken samples flowing into the settling tank. I want to know how much gold is left and how much cyanide is left. The trick here is to make sure that there's as little as cyanide as possible left, and of course 0 gold. And then also I'm taking with me the samples of the carbon from the 2 carbon filters to see what the yield is from a laboratory perspective. Okay, so that's the mill, those are the tanks. That's it basically. In the background there are the power lines. These are power lines that we had to install. We had to install our own electricity to the site. It had no electricity when we got here. And then I'm just going to take you on one last little bit of this tour, which is back past the offices. There's Nelson again. He must think I'm mad. Let's get a video. So there is, you can see over there, every night we basically have a campfire, and the way it works here is you use the campfire to cook your food at lunchtime, and the meal that you eat is basically lunch. You don't have dinner. And what's very interesting is this wood here. This wood, we haven't had to restart a fire since I got here, because this wood just keeps on burning, and it burns very, very slowly and very hotly. So you actually never end up relighting a fire. You just add more wood in the morning and at night, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, so that's the side of the offices. There's the tank where we get our water to wash dishes and stuff in. So now if I go here, straight ahead is the area where there's going to be vegetables. We've got a gardener now who's making vegetables, and you can see he has planted already the African cabbage. And then over here is a chicken coop. We've got 4 chickens. Where are they? They're hiding away now. I can't see them. They're like pets, so they're amazing. Okay, and then there's this little road here. And this little road goes to an area that Nelson has, and Nelson has like planted like hedges all along the roads, and it's going to be very, very pretty one day. Very pretty. This area here, this clearing, this is where we want to build our house one day. So if the mine is successful, we will have a house in this area one day. But over here, this is my bathroom. So this is the bathroom, basically shower. So I come with my black bag, I attach it to the top of that pole, lift the pole up to get some height, and then inside here is basically where stand and shower. So actually all very pleasant. It's like camping in luxury almost, except for going to the toilet where you have to squat, and it's not so pleasant. There's a wash line. So there we go. That's basically the campsite and the mine. That's what it looks like. Hope you enjoyed my tour. Bye.